In this video, I am going to discuss about price elasticity of demand and price elasticity of supply. Let's discuss about price elasticity of demand first. This is a measure of the responsiveness of the quantity demanded of a good or service to a change in its price. Simply, it tells how sensitive consumers are to changes in the price of a product. This is the formula to calculate the price elasticity of demand. The percentage change in demand divided by the percentage change in price. Always remember to use the percentage change. How we can calculate the percentage change? This is how we can calculate it. The percentage change equals to new value minus the previous value divided by the previous value, then multiplied by the 100%. Let's do this example so you can understand how to calculate the percentage change. Here it says price of ice cream was $1.6 and new price is $1.8. Now let's calculate the percentage change of the price. We can assign the values to this formula. So the new value is $1.8 minus the previous value is $1.6 divided by the previous value $1.6, then multiplied by the 100%. So the percentage change of the price is 12.5%. This is how we can calculate a percentage change. Likewise, we have to find the percentage change in demand and percentage change in price in order to calculate the price elasticity of demand. This percentage value can be also minus value. This means the new value has decreased below the previous value. In this case, the new value has increased than the previous value. That is why this is a plus value. We can calculate the price elasticity of demand using two methods. The first method is non-average method. The second method is average method. Let's discuss about the non-average method first. As the title says, non-average method, meaning we are not going to consider the average value for this method. This is simply the same as price elasticity of demand as we talked about earlier. The percentage change in demand divided by the percentage change in price. Let's do this example. Demand for ice cream was 120 for $1. New price is $1.2 and the demand decreased to 150. Now let's calculate the price elasticity of demand using the non-average method. So we have to find the percentage change in demand as well as the percentage change in price. I'm going to directly use these percentage changes for the numerator and for the denominator. So the percentage change in demand will be new value is 115, previous value is 120 divided by previous value 120 multiplied by 100%. This is the percentage change in demand. This is the numerator of the price elasticity of demand. Now for the denominator of the price elasticity of demand formula, percentage change in price. So the new price is 1.2, the previous price was 1 divided by previous value 1 multiplied by 100%. Now we can calculate the price elasticity of demand. So the price elasticity of demand for this example is minus 0.208. This is the non-average method, which means we are not considering any average methods for this example. Now let's discuss about the average method. For this method, the price elasticity of demand formula is bit change. Now the percentage change in demand based on average divided by percentage change in price based on average. Let's do the same example as before so that we can understand this method. First, we have to calculate the average for demand and average for price. So the average for demand equals to 120 plus 115 divided by 2. This is the average demand. So this is 117.5. So the average price will be 1 plus 1.2 divided by 2 equals to 1.1. Now we can assign these values to this formula to find the price elasticity of demand. Pay close attention. We are going to take the new demand value 115 minus the previous demand value 120. Now here we are going to divide this by the average demand 117.5 multiplied by the 100% divided by 1.2 minus 1 divided by, now we are going to divide by the average price 1.1. 1.1 multiplied by the 100. Now this is the average method to calculate the price elasticity of demand. So the price elasticity of demand using the average method is negative 0.234. Now let's discuss about the different variations of price elasticity of demand. The price elasticity of demand is a value between negative infinity and 0, where 0 indicates demand is perfectly inelastic. Between 0 and negative 1 indicates demand is inelastic. Negative 1 indicates demand is unit elastic. A value below negative 1 indicates demand is elastic. As now we know, the price elasticity of demand is the sensitivity of the demand to the price changes. Perfectly inelastic means if price changes, the demand won't change at all. Demand is inelastic means the percentage change of the price is higher than the percentage change of the demand. Unit elastic means the percentage change in price is equal to the percentage change of the demand. Finally, demand is elastic means the percentage change of demand is higher than the percentage change of price. This is the demand curve for perfectly inelastic demand. This is where the price elasticity of demand equals to 0. Demand stays the same. This is called the perfectly inelastic demand. This is the demand curve for price inelastic demand. Percentage change of the price is higher than the percentage change of the demand. For this situation, the price elasticity of demand will be between -1 and 0. This is the demand curve for unit elastic demand, where the percentage change in price equals to the percentage change in demand. So the price elasticity of demand will equal to -1. This is the demand curve for price elastic demand, where the percentage change of price is lower than the percentage change in demand. This is where the price elasticity of demand will less than -1. This is the demand curve for perfect elastic demand, which means if the price changes, the whole demand will be lost. This is where the price elasticity demand is equal to infinity. Another important thing to note is that all the price elasticity of demand is less than 0. This means it can be 0 or it can be any value below 0, which means negative values. This is because the price and the demand have an inverse relationship. When the price increases, demand will decrease. When the price decreases, demand will increase. That is the reason for this negative value when it comes to price elasticity of demand. Now let's discuss about the application of price elasticity of demand in the real world. Pricing strategy. Businesses can use price elasticity of demand to determine optimal prices for their products. For example, if the demand for a product is elastic, The business may choose to lower the price to increase sales and market share. Whereas if the demand is inelastic, the business may choose to raise the price to increase revenue. Revenue management. Companies can use price elasticity to maximize their revenue. For example, if demand is inelastic, they can raise prices. But if demand is elastic, they may choose to lower prices to increase sales volume and overall revenue. Government taxation. Policymakers can use price elasticity of demand to assess the potential impact of taxes on certain products. If the demand for a product is inelastic, a tax on that product will likely to lead a relatively small decrease in quantity demanded and a relatively large increase in revenue. Conversely, if the demand is elastic, a tax on a product may lead to a large decrease in quantity demanded and a small increase in revenue. Market analysis. Price elasticity of demand can be used to analyze market competition and the behavior of different segments of consumers. For example, businesses can compare the price elasticity of demand for different products to understand which products are more price sensitive and which are less so. Predictive analysis. Price elasticity of demand can also be used to predict future market trends. For example, if a business knows that the price elasticity of demand for its product is elastic, it can anticipate that a price increase will lead to a significant decrease in sales. Now let's discuss about the demand curve formula. This is the demand curve formula. Q equals to A minus BP. Q is the quantity demanded. P is the price of the good or service. A is the quantity demanded when the price is 0. In other words, this is the value when the curve intersects the y-axis. Like this. This is the quantity, this is the price, and this is the demand curve. This is the point where the demand curve intersects the y-axis. So this will equal to the A value. B, the slope or the gradient of the demand curve, which measures how much the quantity demanded changes in response to a change in price. This is the gradient of the slope. This is the y value, this is the x value. So this will be the gradient B. Using this equation, we can find the demand or the price. Now let's do this example. Demand equation for a certain product is Q 100 minus 2P. Price of the product is $20. So now we can find the quantity or the demand using this data. So this is the demand curve equation. Q equals A minus BP. So now we can assign the P value here. Then we can simply calculate the quantity of demand. So therefore the quantity demanded at the price of $20 is 60 units. Likewise, now we can find the quantity or the price using this equation. Now let's discuss about the influences on price elasticity of demand. Availability of substitute products. If there are many substitutes available for a product, consumers have more options to choose from. If the price of the original product increases, which makes the demand for the original product more elastic. On the other hand, if there are few substitutes available, consumers may be more willing to pay higher price and demand for the original product may be more inelastic. Proportion of income spent on the product. Products that represent a small proportion of a consumer's income tend to have more elastic demand, as the consumer is less likely to be significantly impacted by the price changes. Conversely, products that represent a larger proportion of a consumer's income tend to have more inelastic demand, as price changes can have a significant impact on the consumer's overall budget. Necessity of the product. Products that are considered necessities tend to have more inelastic demand, as consumers are less likely to be able to substitute or reduce their consumption of the product. Products that have considered luxuries or discretionary items tend to have a more elastic demand, as consumers may be more willing to cut back or substitute if the price increases. Time period under consideration. The time period being considered is important because over time. The time period being considered is important because over time, consumers may be able to adjust their consumption patterns in response to price changes. In the short term, demand may be more inelastic as consumers have less time to adjust. Over a longer time period, demand may become more elastic as consumers have more time to seek out substitutes or change their habits. Consumers' habits and preferences. Consumer habits and preferences can also influence price elasticity of demand. If a particular brand or product is strongly preferred by consumers, demand may be more inelastic, as consumers are less likely to switch to a substitute. Conversely, if consumers are relatively indifferent between different brands or products, demand may be more elastic. Now let's discuss about the consequences of price elasticity of demand on total revenue. This is very important. Elastic demand. When demand for a product is elastic, a small increase in price will cause a larger decrease in quantity demanded. In this case, decrease in the price can result in an increase in total revenue because the increase in quantity sold outweighs the decrease in price. Conversely, increase in the price will result in a decrease in total revenue because the decrease in quantity sold outweighs the increase in price. As now we know, when the price elasticity of demand is less than -1, it considered as elastic demand, where the percentage change of the price is lower than the percentage change in the demand. Inelastic demand. This is where the price elasticity of demand is between -1 and 0. When the demand for a product is inelastic, a small increase in price will cause only a small decrease in quantity demanded. In this case, increase in the price can result in an increase in total revenue because the increase in price outweighs the decrease in quantity sold. Conversely, decrease in the price will result in a decrease in total revenue because the decrease in price outweighs the increase in quantity sold. Unitary elastic demand. This is where the price elasticity of demand is equal to -1. When demand for a product is unitary elastic, a change in price will result in an equal change in quantity demanded. So total revenue will remain the same. Now let's talk about the price elasticity of supply. Price elasticity of supply is a measure of the responsiveness of the quantity supplied of a good or service to a change in its price. Simply, it tells how sensitive producers are to changes in the price of a product. This is the formula to calculate the price elasticity of supply. The percentage change in supply divided by the percentage change in price. We now know how to calculate the percentage change. New value minus the previous value divided by previous value, then multiplied by 100%. Let's quickly do this example. The price elasticity of supply is a value between 0 and positive infinity, where 0 indicates that supply is perfectly inelastic. Between 0 and positive 1 indicates supply is inelastic. Positive 1 indicates supply is unit elastic. A value above positive 1 indicates supply is elastic. Now the price elasticity of supply is 0 or a positive value. This is because price and the supply are positively related. If the price increases, supply will also increase. If the price decreases, supply will also decrease. That is why this positive value we get for the price elasticity of demand. This is the supply curve for perfectly inelastic supply. This is where even though the price are changing, the supply quantity is constant, which means supply is not sensitive to price changes at all. For perfectly inelastic supply, we will get the price elasticity of supply as 0. This is the supply curve for price inelastic supply. This is where the percentage change in price is higher than the percentage change in supply quantity. The price elasticity of supply is between 0 and positive 1. This is the supply curve for unit elastic supply. This is where the percentage change of price is same as the percentage change of supply quantity. In this situation, the price elasticity of supply is equal to positive 1. This is the supply curve for price elastic supply. This is where the percentage change in prices are lower than the percentage change in supply quantity. In this situation, the price elasticity of supply is higher than the positive 1. This is the supply curve for perfectly elastic supply. As you can see, there is only one price. If the price changes at all, the supply quantity will be lost. For this situation, the price elasticity of demand is positive infinity. Now let's talk about the supply curve formula. The difference between the demand curve formula and the supply curve formula is this assignment, plus or minus value. For demand curve, it is a minus. For the supply curve, it is a plus. Q is the quantity supplied of a product or service. P is the price of the product or service. A is the y-intercept of the supply curve, which represents the quantity supplied when the price is 0, or the minimum price at which the product or service can be supplied, which is this value. This is the quantity, this is the price, and let's assume this will be the supply curve. So here this point will be the A value. B is the slope of the supply curve, which represents the change in quantity supplied for a unit change in price. We can find the gradient of the slope by using this y and x value. This will be the gradient value B, or the slope of the supply curve. Let's do this example. The supply curve is Q equals to 100 plus 5P. To calculate the quantity supplied at a given price, let's say $10. Now we can use the supply curve formula. Q equals A plus BP. Now we can assign the 10 as the price and calculate the quantity supplied. Therefore, at the price of $10, the quantity supplied is 150 units. Now let's discuss about the application of price elasticity of supply. Production planning. Price elasticity of supply can help firms plan their production and inventory management by providing information on how changes in price will affect the quantity supplied of their products or services. Pricing strategies. Price elasticity of supply can help businesses determine the optimal price at which to sell their products or services by considering the responsiveness of supply of price changes. Taxation policy. Price elasticity of supply can inform government policymakers on the impact of taxes on the production and supply of goods and services. For example, a tax on a product with inelastic supply may lead to higher prices without reducing the quantity supplied, resulting in a larger tax revenue for the government. Infrastructure investment. Price elasticity of supply can help in planning and investment decisions for infrastructure projects such as transportation, energy, and water supply. By knowing the price elasticity of supply of a particular industry or product, governments can predict the effects of infrastructure investment on supply. Now let's discuss about the influences on price elasticity of supply. Availability of production inputs. If the production of a good requires inputs that are difficult to obtain, such as specialized machinery or rare raw materials, the supply of that good may be relatively inelastic. On the other hand, if the required inputs are readily available, the supply may be more elastic. Time period under consideration. The elasticity of supply may also vary depending on the time period being considered. In the short term, suppliers may have limited ability to adjust their production capacity, which can make the supply relatively inelastic. However, over a long period of time, suppliers may be able to adjust their production capacity more easily, making the supply more elastic. Stock of goods. The supply of goods may be more elastic if suppliers have a larger stock of goods available that can be sold in response to price changes. On the other hand, if suppliers have limited stock of goods, the supply may be relatively inelastic. Ability to adjust production capacity. If suppliers can quickly and easily adjust their production capacity in response to price changes, the supply will be more elastic. For example, a factory that can quickly retool to produce different products may have a more elastic supply than a factory that specializes in a narrow range of products and has limited capacity to adjust its production. Mobility of factors of production. The ability of production factors such as labor and capital to move between different users or locations can also influence the elasticity of supply. If factors of production can be easily moved to the production of the good in question, the supply will be more elastic. However, if factors of production are tied to specific users or locations, the supply may be relatively inelastic. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.